You are lying in bed. It is quiet. Nothing is wrong. And then, without any warning, your brain replays something that happened 11 years ago. Something you said that came out wrong. Something you did in front of people that made everyone go silent. Something small. Something long over. Something that no one else probably remembers at all. And yet here you are, wide awake, cringing so hard your whole body tightens. Why does this keep happening? Why does your brain hold on to embarrassing moments with a grip it never applies to most of your happiest memories? Why can you barely remember what you had for breakfast 3 days ago, but you can replay a conversation from middle school in perfect detail? The answer is not that you are broken or anxious or too sensitive. The answer is that your brain is doing exactly what it was built to do. And once you understand the machinery behind it, you will never feel the same way about those midnight flashbacks again. Your brain does not store memories the way a camera records footage. It does not capture everything equally and file it away in neat folders. It is selective, brutally selective. And the single most important factor determining what gets remembered and what disappears is not how long something lasted, not how many times it happened, not even how much you consciously want to remember it. It is how much emotion was attached to it. The more emotionally charged a moment is, the deeper and more permanently it gets encoded into your long-term memory. This is handled by a small almond-shaped structure deep in your brain called the amygdala. The amygdala's entire job is threat detection and emotional tagging. When something happens that carries significant emotional weight, the amygdala fires a signal that essentially tells your hippocampus, the brain's memory filing system, pay attention to this one. Make sure it sticks. This system evolved for survival. A near miss with a predator needs to be remembered in vivid detail so you never make the same mistake again. A moment of serious social danger needs to be encoded just as deeply. Because for most of human history, social danger was physical danger. And this is where embarrassment enters the picture. Embarrassment is not a minor emotion. It is one of the most complex and neurologically significant social emotions the human brain produces. When you feel embarrassed, your brain is not just registering discomfort. It is registering a threat to your social standing, your group membership, your reputation within the people who matter to your survival. From an evolutionary standpoint, damaging your reputation in the eyes of your group was one of the most dangerous things that could happen to you. It put your belonging at risk, and belonging, as we have discussed, was survival. So when an embarrassing moment occurs, your amygdala does not treat it lightly. It fires with intensity. It floods your system with stress hormones, including cortisol and adrenaline. And it signals your hippocampus to encode this memory with maximum priority. The result is what researchers call a flashbulb memory effect for social pain. The moment gets burned in with a clarity and detail that ordinary moments never receive. The faces of the people who were there, the exact words that were said, the specific way the silence felt afterward. All of it preserved at a resolution your brain almost never applies to neutral experiences. And here is what makes it worse. Every time you revisit that memory, you do not simply replay it. You partially re-encode it. Neuroscientist Daniela Schachter, whose work on memory reconsolidation has reshaped how scientists understand human recall, found that memories are not static recordings. Every time you retrieve a memory, it briefly becomes unstable. Your brain essentially resaves it in the context of your current emotional state. Which means if you are lying awake at night, already feeling anxious or vulnerable, and your brain pulls up that embarrassing memory, it re-encodes it with the emotional intensity of that current moment layered on top of the original experience. Every replay makes it more vivid, more emotionally charged, more firmly embedded. This is why some embarrassing memories do not fade the way other memories do. Most memories follow a predictable forgetting curve. Without reinforcement, they lose detail and emotional potency over time. But embarrassing memories are often reinforced repeatedly, involuntarily in moments of vulnerability, which reactivates the amygdala response and triggers another round of deep re-encoding. You are not remembering that moment more often because you want to. You are remembering it more often because each time you do, your brain treats it as evidence that it was right to flag it as important. The repetition itself signals significance, and significance is exactly what your brain uses to decide what to hold on to forever. There is a term for this pattern in psychology: rumination, the involuntary, repetitive replay of negative experiences, particularly socially threatening ones. Researcher Susan Nolan Huxema, who spent decades studying why humans replay painful moments, found that rumination is not a malfunction. It was not originally a bug in the system. It evolved as a problem-solving mechanism. Your brain replays threatening experiences because it is searching for what you could have done differently. It is running simulations, trying to generate a better outcome retroactively so that if a similar situation ever occurs again, you will be prepared. The problem is that social embarrassment does not have a clean solution the way a physical threat does. If your brain replays a near miss with a predator and identifies what you should have done, the replay can stop. Problem solved. But if your brain replays a moment of social humiliation, there is no perfect retroactive response. You cannot unsay the wrong thing. You cannot undo the moment of public failure. So the loop continues searching for a resolution that does not exist. This is also why embarrassing memories feel more painful in the dark, in the quiet, in the moments just before sleep. During the day, your prefrontal cortex, the rational, regulatory part of your brain, actively suppresses the emotional intensity of threatening memories. It helps you stay functional. But as you begin to relax and your cognitive control loosens at the end of the day, the amygdala's signals get louder, the suppression lifts, and the memories that your brain flagged as socially dangerous come flooding back with their full emotional charge, unbuffered. There is something else buried in this system that almost no one talks about. The people whose embarrassing moments you witnessed, they almost certainly do not remember it the way you do. Research on what psychologists call the spotlight effect shows that people consistently overestimate how much others notice and remember their mistakes and failures. The audience of your most mortifying moment has almost universally moved on. Their brains did not encode it with anywhere near the emotional intensity yours did, because for them, it was not a threat to their own social standing. It was just something that happened to someone else. The memory that has haunted you for 11 years probably lasted about 30 seconds in someone else's mind and was gone before the week was over. But your brain could not know that in the moment. All it knew was that something socially dangerous had happened, and it did exactly what it was designed to do. It made sure you would never forget. Here is the part that changes everything. Understanding the mechanism does not erase the memory, but it does something more useful. It removes the secondary layer of suffering that most people pile on top of the original embarrassment. The shame of having the memory at all. The self-criticism for not being able to let it go. The belief that the fact you still remember this says something deeply unflattering about you. It does not. It says something deeply accurate about the sophistication of a survival system that kept your ancestors socially connected and alive across hundreds of thousands of years. Your brain remembers your most embarrassing moments forever, not because you are weak, not because you are neurotic, not because you secretly enjoy the suffering, but because you are running social threat detection software that was built in a world where your reputation could mean the difference between belonging to your group and being left alone in the dark. The midnight cringe is not evidence of damage. It is evidence of a brain that cared deeply about keeping you connected to the people around you. And caring about connection, even when it hurts, is exactly what made you human. It's not because you're weak, it's not because you're neurotic, and it's definitely not because you secretly enjoy suffering. So why does your brain replay that one embarrassing moment from 5 years ago at 2 a.m. out of nowhere? Here's the truth. Your brain is running a social threat detection software that was built in a completely different world. Thousands of years ago, getting rejected by your tribe wasn't just embarrassing. It could literally get you killed. So your brain learned one simple rule: reputation equals belonging. Belonging equals survival. That's it. That's the entire equation your brain has been running since before written language even existed. So at midnight, when that cringe memory hits you out of nowhere, it's not a glitch. It's not evidence that something's wrong with you. It's your ancient alarm system, still trying to protect you from a danger that doesn't exist anymore. And that brain that cared so deeply about keeping you connected to others, That's not weakness. Caring about connection, even when it hurts, is exactly what made you human.